So I was just saying to the wife the other day how now that the heat finally arrived last Tuesday, that summertime photography sucks. The really interesting light is at 4 o'clock in the morning or 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And now I can shoot black and white during the day, film. That's not so bad. So there is that to do, but it's still not. I mean, I don't know. I really like spring, not so much, but fall, winter, that's prime time for photography. But I do have to agree with Thomas Heaton. He just recently had an X-T3 converted to infrared. That's an option for some creative photography in the middle of the day in the summertime. And that's what this video is about, so stay tuned. Hey there everybody, how's it going? Good to see you again, thanks for coming out. So if you don't happen to have a spare 2K laying around, that would be $2,000 in money to buy yourself your very own infrared converted X-T3. Or if you don't perchance happen to have a spare X-T3 laying around, as some do, and I'm not talking about myself, that you're not using, to send it in and spend another 300 or 400 quid on it to get it converted to infrareds only, then you can go the poor man's route, which is what I did 20, 30 years ago. And I got a Hoya R72 infrared filter. That would be this thing here. And it's in 77 millimeter. This is a Hoya 77 millimeter infrared R72. And what that does with some fancy adapter rings, they're fancy. They're aluminum, they're about $6, $7. The filter itself is $84 on B&H right now. This is all US dollars. In the rest of the world, it's 50 chickens or something, I don't know. So yeah, I screw these adapter rings on, and what happens is it converts my X-T3, which I still use and can't dedicate it to specifically infrared, and it allows me to shoot infrared images very easily on, this happens to be my X-T3. But I can use my X-T4, my XS10, any camera I got, my K1. I mean, this filter turns any of my cameras into infrared cameras. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and there are some caveats to that. Number one, you need a tripod because your exposures get long, because these cameras have built-in infrared filters which minimize their sensitivity to infrared. Some cameras are better than others. The Fujis tend to be pretty good. The Pentaxes tend to be pretty good. From what I understand, the X Pro 1, XT1, XT2 were really good. This X-T3 seems to be pretty good. So I'm getting shutter speeds at ISO 160. I'm getting shutter speeds of like 6 seconds, 10 seconds on a bright sunny day. So that's not too bad. And you know, most of your infrared shots are going to be landscape shots anyway, so it's not a big deal. But the nice thing is the versatility of having one filter in your camera bag that turns all your cameras into infrared capable cameras. And so another thing to note is that some lenses are better than others. The dreaded infrared hotspots. But that would apply even if you had an infrared converted camera. Like if you had an infrared converted camera, a lens that doesn't do very well with the infrared filter isn't going to do very well with an infrared converted camera. Does that make sense? It didn't sound like it came out right, but I think you know what I'm talking about. From what I understand, the 10 to 24 Fuji ain't the greatest. The 18 to 55 isn't so hot. The Fujicrons, the F2 35, 23, 16, 28, 50, the Pentax 21, 31, 43, 77 are all supposed to be really good without the hot spots. So there is that. So what's interesting about it is it takes like a very generic woodland where I'm in what I'm in now. This is just, you know, the creek up from my house. And it really sees things differently. Now I set my camera to the acros setting for black and white. And it's working just fine. It's really turning what's kind of a boring looking shot into something interesting. I'll roll some images that I've been shooting in to show you what I can do, or what it can do. And yeah, so you can also shoot color infrared. What happens is in the camera you get a very red image, and you bring it into Affinity Photo or Capture One, and you turn the the blue all the way up and the red all the way down, and it kind of balances out the color, and you can get infrared color shots with these cameras as well. So that's the fun I'm having today. And just in case anyone's wondering, yes, this video was definitely inspired by Thomas Eaton converting his X-T3 over to infrared. And I think that's awesome. I think it's great that he's experimenting and playing. But for us poor folks who don't quite have his bank account, it is what it is, right? This $84 filter can get us to play in that realm a little bit without spending what for us mere mortals is big bucks. So yeah, so there it is. I'm gonna take a few shots and we'll see what we get. I mean, you know, anything you start looking through the thing. What's really interesting is with the X-T3, it has the capability to see through this filter. And what I mean by that is like with the K1, you kind of, once you put the filter on, you got to kind of compose and then put the filter on. With this thing, with the X-T3, I can put the filter on, and because it's a mirrorless camera and it brings up the image, it'll kind of show me what I'm getting. And so that's kind of cool, considering, you know, we're talking 6-second, 20-second, 30-second exposures. And I can still preview before I shoot it, which is kind of nice. The K1, you have to shoot it and then look at it, and then for the most part. So yeah, yeah, let's see what we can get. All right. All right, so that's infrared on a budget, and it's been a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's just to show that you can do this kind of photography without spending a whole ton of money. And yeah, so like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for coming out today, and we'll see you out here. Bye.